Good morning to you all viewers of High Television. You are welcome to the Friday's edition of the program this Friday morning of the 19th of January 2024. The program on air is Press Brief Representation. I am attending Larry Kevin Tabot. We'll be back to give you what the papers are saying, and for the second part of the program, we'll be joined with our reviewer on his way. Once again, if you are just joining us, you are on to Press Brief, and on this program, the newspapers always come first. We start with Emergence. Emergence newspaper for today is interested in the clash between the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon and the Teranga Lions of Senegal, as it titles that Dual Lions. You can find more on that paper of Emergence for today. And that's a paper of Emergence for this morning. The paper talks of the taxation system in Cameroon and the taxing of foreigners into the country. The paper reports on some 50 billion, 20 billion CFA francs that will be collected from the foreigners coming into Cameroon. As for the taxation department, you can find more on that paper of Emergence for this morning. In Asset Emergence, the paper reports on enterprise, the agricultural enterprises will reduce some 92% of custom revenue. You can find more on that paper for today. We move up to the northern region with Lloyd Israel for this morning. Lloyd Israel for today talks of secondary school teachers. It says 2,326 teachers' salaries have been suspended by the Minister of Secondary Education, Nalova Lyonga. We'll take you to Soki Garoa. The paper reports on the massive cross-carpeting of FSNC militants to join the CPTM. You can find that story on Lloyd Israel for this morning. From Lloyd Israel, we take you to Indian Division with Cameroon Echoes. Cameroon Echoes of William Tibaitwe for this morning talks of palm oil management goes to fuel meet partner staff. Get to read that story from Indian Division on the Indian paper for today. In Asset paper, Batanga community braces up for Barombiwa Batanga Cultural Festival. We take you to this other story. Bia Lubricate Minat sent home retired corrupt SDOs. Moving over to the next publication for today, that is The Voice of Randy Joseph for this morning. Half as late story at first anniversary of journalist Martinez Zogo murder. Reporters Without Borders on earth chilling details. Meanwhile, the committee to protect journalists reviews calls for impartial justice, and many questions remain unanswered on the circumstances leading to the kidnap and killing of Martinez Zogo. AFCON Cote d'Ivoire 2023 match day 2, Cameroon versus Senegal. Leadership of the Lions. You can find that story on that said paper. Cameroon amongst IMF top 10 list indebted countries. You can find that story on the revelation that was made known to Cameroonians by the Minister of Finance, Louis Paul Motaze. We'll move over to Luju. Luju for today talks of high temperature that is favorable for mosquitoes across some major household in the city of Yaoundé. You can find that story on that said paper for today. And we remain with Yaoundé business persons in the Acacia market cries foul towards anarchy on their difficulties in selling in the Acacia market of Yaoundé. AFCON 2023 in Ivory Coast, it talks of a decisive match for Indomitable Lions of Cameroon and the Teranga Lions of Senegal this Friday morning. La Voix du Jeune for this morning reports on purported appointment of Professor Matthias Eric Owonangini to the position of rector of the University of Yaoundé 1. You can find that story on page 2 on that said paper for today. And for our show 2 comes back to the defeat of the Super Eagles of Nigeria against the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire last night in Ivory Coast. You can find that story on that said paper as it says, quote alert. We'll move over to talk something else with the appointment of senior divisional officers and some other officials in the country by President Paul Biya that took place yesterday. Let's take you to security challenges across the Anglophone regions of Cameroon. The paper reports on the geopolitics of war in this part of the nation and the difficulties that it hampers towards social cohesion across the northwest and southwest regions. Politics newspaper for this morning talks of the bed box in Yaoundé. It says a phenomenon that is fast rising in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. Charles Idris Deby Igno, the paper report of a transitional candidate for the presidential elections for 2024. You can find that story on that said paper for this morning. We'll move away from politics for newspaper for today. We take you to the next publication, that is the Punch. The Punch talks of public outrage grows as kidnapping epidemic worsen across Nigeria. Reps order ministers to return the sum of 85 billion naira COVID-19 funds, and oil firms Unity Bank late as market cap hit the sum of 50 trillion naira. Inspector General of Police present the sum of 2 billion naira to families of deceased cop in Abuja. You can find that story on the Punch newspaper for this morning. We remain with the Nigerian tabloid for today. This time around with the Nation. The Nation for this morning reports federal government charges Emefiele with lying to obtain the sum of 6.2 million US dollars. Refund the sum of 75 billion naira COVID-19 cash house panel tells ministry. We take you to Ibadan explosions. It says 2 more bodies recovered. And away from that, we come back to Cameroon with Informatin for this morning. It talks of eulogy to the late Professor Ewona Njana. The paper reports on the man Professor Soso to Professor Mono Njana, who begins his journey to eternity this Friday. We take you to the next publication for this morning, that is Quotidianico Sante for today. Talks of the Far North region. The district hospital of Mokolo personnel celebrated and recognized. You can find that story on that said paper for today. A rotten Yaoundé, the paper reports on how children will get sick according to that paper on some health hazards or the hygienic situation of Yaoundé. You can find that story on that said publication for this morning. We now move over to the next paper for today. The Guardian Post for this day talks of the Center Region Governor Nasiri Paul Biya inaugurates Melen Yaoundé Tarikon Credit Union Ultramodern office next Monday. Job opportunities at the Cameroon Debt Recovery Corporation. You can find that story on the Guardian Post for this day. From the Guardian Post, viewers, let's make a stop over with Le Montagnard for today. Talks of the recruitment of University of Eboloa staff. You can find more on that paper for today. Let's talk sports this time around with handball. The male handball selection of Cameroon. You can find that story too on that said paper for today. The sports paper Punch Sports Extra says Ivory Coast 0 Nigeria 1. Thank you, Victor. And in that said paper, the paper went further to talk of NBA. It says Ngwara joins Raptors, and we'll move over to Arsenal way in for Benzema's loan, and how Pizarro, that's the Nigerian head coach, how Pizarro men fared against the Ivorians last night. You can get to read detailedly on that publication of Punch Sports Extra for this day. Ladies news for today celebrates Amba Acha Rose of her enormous successes as the minister delegates at the presidency in charge of Supreme State Audit. Get to read that story on Ladies News for this day. Away from Ladies News viewers, we move over to talk something else with the next publication, that is municipal updates for today. It says after Youth Affairs Ministry recognition, ICT University celebrates distinguished students. You can find that story on that set paper for today. Douala Bia's envoy John Gute inaugurates promotional plan today. BIA appoints SDOs, DOs, new Constitutional Council members. Get to read more on that publication of municipal updates for this morning. From municipal updates, we'll take on the last publication for today, Ekoju Palemang. Ekoju Palemang newspaper for today talks of the official visit of the Vice Chinese Prime Minister to Cameroon. As the paper reports of his visit to the construction site of the building to play host to the National Assembly in downtown Yaoundé. You can find more on how his visit went on the Ekoju Palemang newspaper for today. With Ekoju Palemang viewers, this is where we'll put a stop on the first part of the program. But do not move a muscle. We'll be back with our reviewer who is right here with us. Good morning to you once again. If you are joining us, you're on to the second part of the program, and we on this part is reserved for our reviewer. Our reviewer for this morning is a teaching assistant in the University of Boya in the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication. I'm talking of PhD fellow Aminate Kemgro. Good morning to you, Aminate, and you're welcome to the program.
Good morning, Larry. Good morning to all your viewers out there. I'm very happy to be here again after a very long time, and good to meet the team on board.
Yeah, and this is your first media appearance for the year 2024.
Thank you. You're right.
All right, we kickstart this first part of the program with the first paper for today, municipal updates. The paper of Victor Bamacham for today says Limbe, paramount ruler offers house to woman rendered homeless by floods.
Well, I think I don't know how many people were affected by the flood.
Yeah.
And when I read the story, I was trying to figure out why the paramount chief decided to settle on that particular woman, because I don't think in the situation of a flood only one person will be affected. Further, on a positive note, I think it's a plus for the chief to take on that community action for civil protection of the population under him.
Okay, let's talk on the Southwest region. This time around, Southwest region gets 22 billion CFA francs as her own share of the 2024 state budget.
The truth is that I've not had the opportunity or the time to go through the entire state budget line by line and the allocations for each of the 10 regions of Cameroon.
Okay.
But read from the newspapers, like you are saying, that 22 billion CFA francs was allocated for the Southwest region. I will try to go down again to read further to understand the projects that are to be engaged in the Southwest region. But also, I think the greater challenge at this level is budget tracking at community levels. Policy, and there are a lot of policy instruments and budget implementation instruments that allow for communities to track budgets. Our local chiefs, the stakeholders, community stakeholders who are to benefit from these projects, and all the others collude and connive with contractors and government engineers to make sure that the projects are not implemented and the money ends up in their pockets. So I think it's a call to greater community responsibility for our communities, local communities, to be able to track budgets for projects in their communities. That's where I think the gap is.
All right, we move over to Cote d'Ivoire this time around with the Indomitable Lions with Emergence newspaper for this day. Emergence newspaper says Cameroon versus Cote d'Ivoire, the duel of the Lions. We are having the Teranga Lions of Senegal and the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. So what's our expectation of this match? We don't forget, we have just 1 point. Senegal is coming with 3 points.
Well, my first observation before my expectation, I want to make my observation that all close to 28 million Cameroonians are football coaches, which is also not healthy for the team.
Why?
It is good and right and just to be a fan, yes, but everybody cannot decide who will play where and when. That is the responsibility of the coach, and I think he's aware of what is expected of him. Like any other well-meaning Cameroonian, my wish is for the Indomitable Lions to win. Just like the Senegalese also expect their own team to win. And in a game of football, we expect fair play. We expect our team to do its best. And we hope they win, like I know they will win. But if they don't win, it's not the end of the world. It's a game. And we should learn to let go if we don't win.
Okay, with mind-blowing performance like what we saw yesterday from Nigeria, who beat the host nation, Ivory Coast, in the 1-0 victory, and this other team too, the matches that we saw yesterday, are we expecting to see a rough handlement of the Senegalese squad towards us, or vice versa?
Those expectations are always there. That's obvious. The expectations are there, but if we shoot the horses, beggars will ride. But until the game of football is on the pitch, deficit. It depends on the state of preparedness of the team and the engagements and the performances of the players that are selected by the coach to enter the field on behalf of the Cameroonian nation.
All right, it's 1 year on after Martinez Zogo was kidnapped and later on his body found in the Ebogo village of the central region. We meet Mutation newspaper of Thierry Diaga for this day that talks of Martinez Zogo. The paper titles that are a co-rollers compressor. We are making reference to the former intelligence boss Maxime Eko, who came out to implicate some close top business persons like Amogu Jean-Pierre Belinga of having something to do with the kidnap, and later on
it's once more a call to reflection on the state of journalism in Cameroon.
Okay.
The second point I want to make is that the competent authorities, which is the judiciary, carried out preliminary investigations, and the case is going through a judicial process. At this point, I don't think it is the responsibility of the press to be asking when and how justice is dispensed. We should leave the judiciary institution to do its work. And in my understanding of journalism, when a case is in court, it is not the role of the journalist to be commenting about it.
Okay.
Yes.
But
so I think to me that is unprofessional.
All right. But with 1 year on, Hannes still remains in one of the mortuaries in Yaoundé, and justice haven't been served. Shouldn't the press in Cameroon be preoccupied in order for justice to reign for those who actually hand in hand in his kidnap and subsequent gruesome killing?
Well, I'm hearing from you that it remains as still in the mortuary.
Yeah, they are still in the mortuary. They haven't been buried.
Burial is entirely the responsibility of the family.
Okay.
Yes, it's entirely the responsibility of the family. It is not the judiciary to go and bury him.
No, but
the responsibility of the judiciary.
According to investigations, his remains needs to be there for preliminary tests and other investigations to unfold.
Well, at this point, I don't know. Because you understand, some of these things, when they come to the media, they need proper investigation. When the corpse was found, I think that there was some examination there.
Yeah.
Yes, there was proper examination, medical examination, and all, because the corpse that you go and keep a corpse in the mortuary for 1 year, you cannot come back to examine it. You examine it at the point where you find it, and the all the things are already registered.
Okay.
Yeah, so the corpse still in the mortuary is the responsibility of the family, and I think the family should also not try to take the Cameroon judicial system hostage.
Definitely no. So we move over to the appointment of 2 members at the Cameroon Constitutional Council. The appointment were done yesterday, and we talked too on this appointment of SDOs and the new appointee, that is the Cameroon's High Commissioner to Canada. We are talking of Philippe Ngole, who was appointed yesterday. So what do you make of these two key appointments of President Paul Biya yesterday?
What I understand is that the Constitutional Council, its members have mandates. I'm not very versed with the technical implications, the technical clauses of somebody qualifying to become a member. But one of the things I can say for sure is that Professor Joseph Onaodai was a member, and somehow he has been replaced. The other person, Longmo Belek something.
Yeah.
I don't know who he replaced, because I don't know I cannot offhand I cannot give you the list of all the Constitutional Council members. But also I think there is a law regulating the functioning of the Constitutional Council, and including how to manage vacancies at the helm in the institution. So if 2 of them were replaced, I don't know if they were replaced on their own mandate or to complete the mandate of 2 of the members that transited during the mandate. So which is why I think that's one of the things that journalists should try to investigate.
All right, we move up north to the country with Lloyd Isahel of Gibe Baitama for this morning. He talks of secondary education. 2,326 teachers' salaries have been suspended by the Ministry of Secondary Education and that of Public Service and Administrative Reform. These are teachers, according to the said papers, who have abandoned duty, as some of them could be found or spotted across the streets of the US of A, Canada, and European nations.
Yes, we have, unfortunately, our public service is the way it is. We have a public service mentality in Cameroon. A lot of people get into public service not because they have passion to do the work, but because they want to have matricles and earn a salary from government. And this has been a disturbing situation in all sectors of Cameroon public administration. And the teaching sector has been hard hit. Personally, I know a lot of people, a lot of teachers, who abandoned duty, took their grolo, or took them and whatever, and traveled abroad, and collude and connive with school administrators, principals, and delegates to always make sure their salary is there and they share it. Moving forward, I think it was the right thing for the Ministry of Secondary Education under the visa of Higher State Authority to carry out a proper census of those who are actually working and earning their salary.
Okay.
You don't earn a salary, you don't live in Washington and earn a salary in Yaoundé as a teacher. Those are the people who are pulling this country to the precipice and are the first to stand on rooftops and shout that the country is corrupt and the country is bad. So if some people have been identified as not being eligible to take salaries temporarily, like the minister puts it, you still have the opportunity to come and justify that you're working and collect your salary. We understand how some of them will fly from wherever to come and justify, but as school administrators to have to be reasonable, responsible, and patriotic. We are running schools in Cameroon. The state trains and employs a lot of teachers, but our classrooms are permanently empty. And the state spends a lot of money paying these teachers, yet the classrooms are empty. Why? Because they take the jobs and abandon and go to Europe and continue taking salaries. So that has to be checked.
All right.
So if you are a teacher and they say, and it came out that you have not been present at work, it's also your responsibility to go and prove that you have been coming to work. It's a simple thing to do.
Definitely. All right. Aminata Kemgo. We move over to Inform Our Time for this morning. The paper from Yaoundé talks of eulogy. It says the man of Professor Soso to Professor Mononjana. We are talking of venerated Cameroonian philosopher Professor Mononjana, who began his journey to eternity yesterday as the son of the Linke Division, will be buried in his native village in Linke Division of the Central region.
Well, I know the name Mononjana and a lot of things, but I'm not privy to his intellectual works.
All right.
Yes, but I think the Minister of Higher Education in Cameroon is very responsible. He takes interest in the activities, especially people of that academic standing. And I can only wish the family. I can always send my condolences to the Biri family and the family of higher education to which I belong. Okay.
All right. We'll move over to next door, Meteo. We are talking on the researchers. You are a researcher. This one from the Minister of Scientific Research and Innovation, Dr. Magdalene Twente. It talks of the structural transformation of the economy of Cameroon. It says Magdalene Twente calls on researchers to be more creative. What do you have to make of this? That is coming from Dr. Magdalene Twente, who is calling on you, the researchers, to be creative across their research works and domains.
I think it's a very timely statement, because most of the time we carry out research to validate academic certificates without reflecting on the relevance of the research that we have carried out. So in Cameroon, where we still have a lot of lack of knowledge in a lot of areas, our researchers should focus on context-specific research that can solve context-specific problems. So we have been, most of the time, my understanding is that our researchers carry out research that does not solve problems. So before you engage, before you identify a research problem, you should also ask yourself which problem you will solve and how you will solve it, instead of carrying out research to meet academic standards to earn academic certificates.
Okay. I
think that's where the gap is.
I see.
Yes, content-specific research that solves problems.
Definitely.
And I'm also trapped in the area of mass communications, because I don't understand why somebody who choose to go and study CNN or BBC or some other faraway media organizations or cultural or communication context, whereas we have a lot of technical issues in the communication sector in Cameroon.
All right.
Issues of freedom of the press, issues of rights and responsibilities, and all of that, which are areas that in my own area, in my own kind of, and any other thing from community to policy level. Our towns are poorly planned. Our individual and community hygiene is very poor. For example, people still see waste management like the problem of the council. Yes, I did a scientific paper on waste management in Boya.
Okay.
Yes. People still see waste management, refuse disposal, as a problem of the council.
Which is collective.
The people produce refuse are an integral part of the management process.
Yeah.
If you educate yourself and think you go and keep dumping refuse on the roadside as a problem of the council, you are part of the problem. So our community need a lot of education. You go and dump sewage in waterways and think it's a problem of the council. So we need more civic engagement, greater responsibility towards public health, public hygiene, public hygiene. Public hygiene, yes. We have a mentality crisis, which is also part of the problem. It's not just a problem on the part of government alone.
Okay.
Yes.
And speaking on climate change, we did see yesterday in Côte d'Ivoire how a football match was stopped due to high temperature for the players to go cool off with water. That is the match between Egypt over there in Ivory Coast. So those are some of the intricacies and polemics when it comes to climate change. I mean, we move over to Yaoundé, Marché Acacia. That's the Acacia market of Yaoundé. It says traders of the Marché Acacia Acacia cries out on the anarchy put upon them by the local authorities in the set markets, as they say they have increased the rate of tickets and the amount of taxes levy upon them by the local authorities, according to Loju newspaper for today. Should this be a case in a month like January for business persons who are just struggling to catch up after spending colossal sums of money during the festive period? We are talking on Loju.
The management of revenue source is expected. I'm blaming government for everything. Okay. We need to. You cannot be, in as much as there may be issues in the way the market is managed, the facilities there, which should be also be looked into. Yeah. You can also not say you will not pay taxes. Yeah. It's irresponsible as a citizen. Yeah. So.
But what if the said taxes have a remarkable increase, and with the harsh economic situation that we are facing?
Well, I'm not a tax assessor. I'm not a tax assessor, but issues of tax increases and things like that need to be properly studied. Okay. I also don't want to think, the way people complain sometimes, I also don't want to think the policy makers don't know that there's poverty. Yes.
Many don't. According to what the layman will say, that many of them they don't feel.
And some of those taxes are provoked by the kinds of activities we carry out in those markets. When you carry out, you occupy public structures, and there's evidence that you people collectively deliberately destroy some public infrastructure. Yeah. Toilets, the sheds and all those facilities. There's no other choice in council than to call people to order by adding taxes to maintain them. When there's an issue, we should examine it properly before rushing to conclusions.
Okay, we move over to the paper of your friend, that is Randy Josa, The Voice. The Voice for this day of Randy says, at first anniversary of journalist Zogo's murder, Reporters Without Borders unearths chilling details. And this other one from the JPI renews calls for impartial justice, and many questions remain unanswered, according to the paper of your friend Randy Josa.
Yes, I think we already talked about that. Like I said, I don't subscribe to West media narratives about things happening in Africa, because like Professor Eno Tanjo wrote in his book Media Balance, there's always this tendency of negative stereotyping. Yes, at the end of the day, I don't know, I may not be too sure that the intention of the organization of the West you call is to make sure that justice is dispensed. They may have ulterior motives, but further, like I indicated earlier, the case is under judicial investigation, and we should allow the Cameroon judiciary to do his job. Most of the times, we tend to disregard the judiciary institution, branding it as corrupt. In as much as there are corrupt elements there, like in any other institution, in any other place, yes, we should not disrespect our judiciary institution. You will bear with me that it has not been long that a judge who did not do his job well was replaced on this same case, which is an indication that the state of Cameroon is determined to see justice done on the issue. Yes, I think we should give the judiciary the space and time to do its work, especially as it is sensitive and the world over there are looking for what will come out of it.
Okay, away from that, we remain with the said paper. This time around, Cameroon's amongst IMF's top least indebted countries. This actually, to many Cameroonians, was quite shocking regarding the rates of borrowing that they say the country is borrowing from the Bretton Woods institutions and other countries.
Yeah, that is macroeconomics. I'm not a macroeconomist, and I can really not comment on the intricacies of what it takes to arrive at that rank order. Yes, but I think if Cameroon, as a patriot, if Cameroon is rated as having a high debt,
least,
I think we should. It's something to celebrate. But I cannot go into the intricacies of that because it's macroeconomics and I don't have any knowledge
on that. Okay, but
such sensitive issues which are out of my area of competence, I generally will not want to comment on them.
Because in the yesteryears, we were among the heavily indebted poor country initiative known as HIPIC, and later on we moved out of that level, and now we are now list among the top 10 least indebted countries. We talk on the appointment of Ngole Philip Ngwese. He says Cameroon's High Commissioner to Canada bears trust in Ngole Philip Ngwese's rekindle. That is how Randy captures that appointment of the set son from Kupe Maniguba division.
I think for a while now we have been scrambling for dialogue and inclusion over the Anglophone crisis and things like that, and we have really heard talk of Canada dialogue up and down and things like that. At policy level, there are some structural things that have to be done, and dialogue is not a town hall meeting. Most people misconstrue a dialogue that you call people to come and sit, attend a meeting for 1 week. That was a continuous process. And we look at the activities of Mr. Ngole Philip Ngwese in the major national dialogue that took place in 2019, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He was chairman of a very strategic committee, and has a good insight into the issues that have been articulated. So the head of state decided to send him to Canada. It's also very strategic. It's also, to me, a manifestation of the resolution to find a lasting solution to the confusion we find ourselves in.
Okay, we move to news beyond the shores of Cameroon with the paper, The Nation. The Nation for this day says federal government charges Emefiele, that is former central governor of Nigeria Central Bank, with lying to obtain the sum of $6.2 million US dollars. So this is former governor to the Nigeria Central Bank, Emefiele. You follow the Nigerian media quite well. TBC is your favorite. Had a vision to be next president, as he was competing against current president Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to get a ticket from the All Progressive Party, that's the APC. Now, many sees Tinubu strides towards Emefiele as a witch hunt. Don't forget, after Buhari stepped down, Tinubu had to suspend Emefiele as governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, and now he is being charged with lying to obtain 6.2 million that he stipulated, and the banning of the usage of the old naira note that constituted a lot of problems during the last days of Buhari, and later on the coming into place of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
I want to say, first of all, being the governor of a central bank of a country of about 200 million people is a very challenging task. And then combining that and trying to make it into partisan politics makes it more complicated.
I can imagine.
And tell you, when you lose, and the same people you were competing go out to power, there's bound to be some witch hunt along the line for the right or for the wrong reasons. Even one of the first decisions that I understand, I watch TVC News Nigeria a lot.
Yeah.
That President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took was to remove him from the government Emefiele from the Central Bank of Nigeria, and the battle has been on. You can also not underestimate the ability of somebody who has been governor of a central bank of the whole country. So he surely knows one or two buttons that he can also pull to cause major upsets. Which is why I think it may also be another complicated political and financial issue that may drag on for a while.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Especially in a context where the Nigerian judiciary has demonstrated a lot of independence with its own shortfalls of corruption, though, in other contexts.
Yeah. All right, so we come back of the Central Region. Governor Nasiri Paul Biya inaugurates Melen Yaoundé Tarikon Credit Union Ultramodern office Monday.
Yes, the microfinance sector in Cameroon, the credit union sector to be particular, is becoming an interesting.
Okay.
Yes. One in Bamenda several years back.
Yes.
I got involved in credit union politics. And you agree with me that excuse me.
Yeah.
You agree with me that As an individual, I have the impression that the credit union movement is drifting from its original vision of empowering poor local people on the fringes of the society, who are the biggest customers and those who save most. But the credit unions, to me, take these monies and give huge loans to the elite and some other people, and then the poor people remain poor. Yes, so it's good. Institutional growth is good, but I think mechanisms should be put in place for the vulnerable who save more in those institutions to be empowered than high-rise building in cities where the members are not even there.
That is
to give loans to a few members who use it for their selfish ends.
All right.
Sometimes for political ends to protect the finances of the institution.
Okay. We cross over to this other Yaoundé-based paper, La Voix du Centre, La Voix du Jeune, La Voix du Jeune for today talks of the appointment by Romo. We are talking on the purported appointment of the Matthias Eric Owonangini as director to the University of Yaoundé too, after Professor Ngwashi was appointed as a member of the Constitutional Council. Appointment by Romo, or rector by Romo, according to that paper.
Yes, I saw a social media post that was put up by him, that everybody is saying that he has been appointed, but nobody can show the decision that appointed him. Understandably so, because his father was a foreign politician and regime baron who died recently, and Professor Minko Aishi was removed from the University of Yaoundé to the Constitutional Council. So some pundit just sat somewhere and pulled out a visa and then created confusion. There's no appointment and there's no decision.
You can imagine. And appointments always come via the state media.
And he's crying that maybe it's also a deliberate move by the chapters to puncture any such ambitions appointing.
You can imagine, it's sad. All right, so we leave that one of Professor Matthias Owonangini to Les Questions for today. It talks of the east entrance to the city of Douala. It talks of how after the visit of the Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Ganon Chumisi, works are ongoing at the east entrance to the city of Douala. We are talking of the construction of the double carriageway over there in the economic hub of Douala.
Our government is always good at I'll take exception to this. Our government is always good at rolling out major infrastructural projects. We have on the way our major contracts, road construction projects are carried out. They drag on for too long. A lot of money is pumped in, and when they are finally completed, they don't last.
Okay.
They don't last. The construction roads today, you hear the amount per kilometer. After 10 years, the road is off.
It's off.
So I think we need some conscience in the way we attribute our road construction contracts, and the way our control engineers should be serious. I don't see that. I have a lot of misgivings about around road constructions in Cameroon.
All right, let's take you to the parliamentary newspaper, that is Echo du Parlement. Echo du Parlement talks of the official visit of the Vice Prime Minister of the People's Republic of China to Cameroon, as he came to paid an inspection visit to the current construction site to host the lower house chamber of the Cameroon legislature. So he was received there by the Speaker of Cameroon's National Assembly, Kavaige Jibril. We are talking on Sino-Cameroon Corporation.
Yes, Sino-Cameroon Corporation. China is very much involved and engaged in Cameroon in a lot of sectors: construction, mining, and you name the rest. This National Assembly building is one of the so many projects I'm talking about. That they will draw the map and share on the front page of Cameroon Tribune newspaper 5-6 years after. You will not see the structure of this. So I just hope the coming of the...
Just like a Douala Yaoundé Express Road.
Yes, they are still at 60 kilometers when they started about 10 years ago. So if you go by itself, 245 kilometers, it will take them about 40 years to complete the road.
You can imagine.
Yes. So it's the same like this project. The project of the new National Assembly has been over more than 7 years now. And the photos I saw yesterday showed that they were still at the foundation stage.
No, you have surpassed foundation stage.
Maybe the coming of the Chinese Prime Minister The Chinese were the funders, may put some pressure.
And they're the one constructing.
Yes.
Okay. So let's move over to the Southwest region with the paper of another friend of yours, Diba William Etue's paper of Cameroon Echoes for today. Talks of palm oil management goals of to fuel meat partner staff, according to that paper from the division of William Diba Etue.
Yes, particularly Indian has been out of the media for a very long time. A very long time. And I want to first of all appreciate Cameroon Echoes, who have been a little bit, who have gone a step ahead.
Yeah.
To provide media coverage for Jan Division, just like Ultimate Times is doing for Kope Maniguba. Yes, they have created a window for us.
Yes, community-based.
Yes, community-based reporting, which gives us an opportunity to know what is happening outside the major cities. And Pamol is a very strategic corporation in the southwest region of Cameroon and Cameroon at large. So edifying us with information on what is happening there and the other communities of journalists, I think that's the kind of journalism I opt to go for.
Okay. Okay, we move now to week info for today. Talks of the Cameroon Association of Employers, formerly known as GICAM, but now it has merged with ICAM to get to GICAM. It talks of the call of the people for Celestin Tawamba to go in as president. Don't forget, Celestin Tawamba has been the president of Cameroon's Union of Employers, GICAM, defunct GICAM now. So many people too are calling on the vibrant businessman and big employer in the nation, Celestin Tawamba, who hails from the West region, of course, to have another mandate. This will make him the first president of now newly formed association known as GICAM. This is the Union of Employers and Union of Enterprises in Cameroon.
Yes, I think I read the release of the Minister of Finance calling for the suspension or implementation of new taxes. Some of those taxes are ill-advised.
Okay.
Yeah, they're ill-advised. I think that's why they also do the advocacy very well to put pressure on the government to reconsider their actions, which is what happened.
So what do you make of the calling of Celestin Tawamba to stand as president of this Cameroon Unions of Employers or employers and
You're right. For example, he has called a plus on this issue of taxes, and naturally the workers, the ordinary workers, will support him. The ordinary workers will support him and defend him to go for the position so that he can continue protecting them. It's politics.
Okay.
It's trade union politics, and I think they've done well. If other sectors of Cameroon public life could do like that, put pressure on government to draw the attention to some of the shortcomings,
yes,
I think it would be something to write home about.
Yeah, a plus, of course. So we will be packing our bags out of the studio, but this time around we cannot go without visiting Politics newspaper. Politics for today talks of this health hazard in Yaoundé. That is bedbugs. It says the bedbugs phenomenon has actually increased in the town of Yaoundé. This is can we put it an outbreak? Yeah, this is an outbreak that is occurring in Yaoundé as the set insects crosses rashes and other health hazards to humans. You can find that story on page 3 on Politics newspaper for today. Bedbugs.
It comes back to the issue of personal and community hygiene that I talked about. Bedbugs are an indicator of very poor personal hygiene. Okay. Yes, and I think personal hygiene is not it goes with the facility like water. Yeah. Very importantly, water. When people have water, their hygiene degenerates significantly. And when it degenerates significantly, you have to ration water to an extent. It gives room for some other things to come on board and the step.
All right.
Bed box. So I think our government should invest more, and our local councils, who are much more empowered now, should invest more in community water supply schemes. In Boya, here in Boya, you realize that most of the people building houses are creating borehole facilities automatically. Yeah. Why? Because the local council has not been able to meet that need. So people are looking for alternatives. Yes.
All right. All right. Amina Tekemgo, it was a pleasure having you on set for today.
And I was very happy to be back here. I hope to be back again soonest. Reviewing the papers. It's a very interesting professional aspect of media programming.
Yeah.
Which is why I accepted the invitation.
All right.
Yes.
So we'll be looking at the days ahead or weeks ahead when you are free, of course, because you are a very busy man, as you are a teaching assistant of the University of Buea, precisely from the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication of the Faculty of Social and Management Sciences of that said university.
And I also want to extend my regards to all the JMC students and former students, including you, who are in the house.
Okay.
And that we are part of the team. We're a great department, and we are doing our best to ensure that all of us, former and present students, excel on the market, taking into consideration the changing dynamics of the profession.
And the department, of course, as you always say, is waxing strong.
Thank you very much. Thanks to the head of the department, the very dynamic head of the department.
Yeah.
Nengie,